What is the trait that you find scary in a person? Not respecting it when a person says no. As a 35F, I am lucky to have had just one unfortunate sexual experience before this one where boundaries were clearly violated. So many have dealt with so much worse. But a few months ago, I was in bed with the guy I was seeing at the time. It was late and I was trying to go to sleep, but he started kissing me. I reciprocated. BC kissing was fine, but it became clear he wanted to do more. I said I wasn't feeling well and just wanted to go to bed. He continued to press into me and touch me sexually. I said again, I'm not in the mood. I think he made some kind of dejected comment, and was still trying to put me in the mood. I'd never experienced this before, but there was a split second where I contemplated whether or not I would have to physically fight this dude off me, and I was immediately wide awake. We had only been dating a month, so I didn't really know his character well. As a 35F, I am lucky to have had just one unfortunate sexual experience before this one where boundaries were clearly violated. So many have dealt with so much worse. But a few months ago, I was in bed with the guy I was seeing at the time. It was late and I was trying to go to sleep, but he started kissing me. I reciprocated. BC kissing was fine, but it became clear he wanted to do more. I said I wasn't feeling well and just wanted to go to bed. He continued to press into me and touch me sexually. I said again, I'm not in the mood. I think he made some kind of dejected comment, and was still trying to put me in the mood. I'd never experienced this before, but there was a split second where I contemplated whether or not I would have to physically fight this dude off me, and I was immediately wide awake. We had only been dating a month, so I didn't really know his character well. People who try to get close to you when they don't actually like you, but want to stay updated on your life. Oh, I really hate this. Family calls me inconsiderate, but I hate playing these social games as these people are only time wasters. I had a best friend for more than a decade like this, and that were only meeting with me to hear updates so they can gossip about me to others people from my hometown. Meanwhile, I actually thought they were genuine, and I opened up about some very personal things nobody else knew. It was such a shock to me when a complete stranger came to me because she recognized me from the stories and knew these very intimate things about me and told them loudly. That is when I realized it was my friend, as it was very specific and I haven't told anyone else except that friend. It was the most surreal experience in my life. And the betrayal was beyond hurtful. These people are definitely scariest to me. A person can get close to you, pretending to understand you. Oh, I really hate this. Family calls me inconsiderate, but I hate playing these social games as these people are only time wasters. I had a best friend for more than a decade like this, and that were only meeting with me to hear updates so they can gossip about me to others people from my hometown. Meanwhile, I actually thought they were genuine, and I opened up about some very personal things nobody else knew. It was such a shock to me when a complete stranger came to me because she recognized me from the stories and knew these very intimate things about me and told them loudly. That is when I realized it was my friend, as it was very specific and I haven't told anyone else except that friend. It was the most surreal experience in my life. And the betrayal was beyond hurtful. These people are definitely scariest to me. A person can get close to you, pretending to understand you. The ability to lie to your face with no hint of remorse, and being able to do it so well that you would fully believe them. Yup. This is the absolute worst. A friend who pretends to have your best interest, but then talks shit behind your back. A partner who holds you while you're in tears because of something they did, and they promise you it'll never happen again while knowing they fully plan on doing it again. Some people just fucking suck. Someone with strictly binary views, with no room for grey area at all, can seem innocuous at first, but eventually that trait gets turned towards you and you're either a hero or the devil depending on which way the wind blows. Edit, sorry, I don't mean people on the spectrum. Friendly passive-aggressive behavior. Always being disagreeable and mildly insulting with a big friendly smile. Looking for what's bringing someone joy and attacking it in minor ways without attacking anyone directly. Think of it as a cowardly asshole who wants to be horrible to people but still wants people to like them. Social climbers and conformists who will do or say anything and appear to be nice when in reality they just want what they want or are seeking a sense of belonging from an in-group. I worked in a medical office and had this guy refusing to deal with me because I was a woman and treating me like general crap. Tried to go over my head and demanded to speak with someone else. Then he came in and recognized me. He works with my husband. It was the fastest personality change I have ever seen in real time. Judgment of people who think they know. Yes. Especially those who think they know because of their religion/status/education etc. They scare the shit out of me. It's like everything and everyone is a label for them, and once they can't put one on you they see you as a sin or threat. Not to say they are so unauthentic. People who trap you in an endless one-way conversation about shit you obviously don't care about, ignoring all verbal and non-verbal cues that you want then to GTFO. If they're this clueless, or careless of your wants, who needs them? Like, thanks for the half hour of gossip about people I don't know, Susan, but I actually have work to do. Leave me TF alone. Gossiping. Once you pass something through my ears I feel I wasn't supposed to hear on another's part. I cut you off on all valuable conversations around my life. People underestimate how wicked the tongue can be. This is my coworker. Literally lives for the gossip and tells you everyone else's super personal stuff. Also sometimes plays power role like she has some info but I can't tell you attitude. Like, I never asked. I don't want to know everyone's secrets. It feels wrong. I've also learned an important life lesson, which is that anything I tell her will 100% be passed on and give her social cred, so don't say anything about personal information whatsoever. It's made me learn to keep my mouth shut. Overuse of positivity. It's one thing to look on the brighter side of things, it's another to completely discredit someone's genuine feelings/experience and throw cliché good vibes quotes at them. If I lost my baby, it's allowed to suck. Not everything happens for a reason, and you're definitely not helping by sugarcoating the situation with keep moving forward. Narcissism and anger issues. This is trauma related, I cannot control it. Please do not come at me for being insensitive to people who suffer with anger issues, narcissistic personality disorder. Being insensitive, then they need more therapy to deal with that. This is all stuff I had to learn in therapy too, and a huge part was your disorders are going to impact your relationships, and your partner will have to act around them. Not everyone can do that, and it isn't wrong of them, just as it isn't wrong of you to need extra care. I have multiple personality disorders, as in many, not the disorder MPD. I have anger issues, control issues, etc. Lots of red flags I had to work on in therapy. I'm better now, but personality disorders don't just go away and prospective partners need to have understanding of that. You don't need to feel bad for finding those traits to be scary. Even if you didn't have trauma. Those things can be scary and hard to deal with, and it's not wrong to admit that being with someone who struggles with those things even when they control it well and don't hurt people is not for you. When you're with someone with a personality disorder, you have to adjust yourself around it and make concessions. I am not saying let them abuse you. Theirs is a huge difference between allowing abuse and being understanding. All that to say, if someone wants to come at you because they think you're someone who's always the victim. Everyone always leaves me, nobody likes me, someone who has had a lot of failed relationships and somehow, they're always the angel and they've been wronged many times. More often than not, there is a reason why everyone leaves them. Subtle hints of selfishness. Once had the leader of a local political party I was interested in ask me why I was cutting and serving the cake for others rather than looking out for number one, aka myself. Instant told me everything I needed to know about this person and his party. People who interfere in other people's lives by making up blatant lies, sabotaging them, gossiping, etc. I've seen people do this and get what they want or get ahead, but I will never do this, even if it means getting something I want. I could never do that to anyone, ever, no matter what. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I did. Aggressive behavior towards partner. A charming co-worker brought his wife to a corporate work event. She seemed really sweet, but also scared and cowed. Like just keeping her head down so as to not to get hurt. It was super creepy, because at this point I already knew he was not a great guy. He would show up for work, making $400K, but not do a damn thing all day, even though people could see he wasn't working. He was eventually fired, and remains a liability. I think he's a sociopath. I fully expect to see him and his wife on an episode of Dateline. Overly friendly. I misjudged a good friend of mine as having some sort of ill intentions because he was just so nice. I was wrong. He really was just a well-meaning guy, and he ended up introducing me to my fiancée. So that's on me, projecting past bad experiences onto people. Maybe I find it depressing, but some enjoy having power over others and inflicting misery. Seems it will always be there in human nature or always crop up again and again, things like that. Depressing. It's a very scary experience watching someone smirk at you while you're sobbing from the hurtful things they've said to you. Said or done, especially to those who can't or won't fight back. My father was abusive and violent, and I could see it brought him momentary relief, but I've never seen him cheerful about it. I saw what you described much later and it still came as a huge shock. I could see the person was happy, exhilarated and savoring their power, I'd say. Smirk describes it very well. It's hard to find words for how devastating it is, especially if it comes from someone you thought capable of empathy and compassion. There was something obscene and repulsive about it, and I couldn't be around them anymore without feeling physically nauseous. I'm very sorry you grew up with a father like this. I hope you're well now. Have you ever been at a party or a club drinking and having fun with your close friends? Have you ever witnessed one of them being so drunk that they are shifting from the awesome person you know and adore, to a dark-eyed and tense human, jumping from miserable to bitter to crying to daring/betting people into questionable stuff to getting horny to laugh uncontrollably to staying absolutely quiet and then falling asleep, only to wake up back to the person they were before? Yeah, that is one scary-ass thing I don't wanna see again. Someone who appears very nice but becomes nasty when they don't get their way. Try working retail management. This is a very large percentage of people from every background. I've been threatened with violence 3 times just in the past week from people not getting their way, and I've been yelled at and personally insulted more times than I can count in the same time period for things I have no control over. It doesn't even faze me anymore most of the time, but it can be surprising how easy it is for people to show their colors. Came here to say that, because my dad does that. He's not easy to anger, is actually very calm most of the time, but sometimes, like, once a month, something will happen, and he gets angry, and he starts to behave like that. Sometimes, when he's angry, he starts to speed up the car and drive recklessly while I'm in there. My mother talked to him about it, but I don't think he really cared. It doesn't happen frequently, so he must think it doesn't scare us, but boy, does it scare the fuck out of me and my sister. I dated a guy who frequently broke glass items because of his clumsiness. Every single time an item broke, he would fly into the most extreme fit of rage you can imagine. I got so scared during one of his explosions of anger after her broke a plate that I ran with bare feet over the shards toward the front door to get out of his apartment and away from him. I was so afraid of him. The trait that people have that causes them to immediately react to something said or done at a level 10.5. If there's a name for it. Like when something is said or done and a person responds with rage at an insanely high level or responds with sorrow at very high levels. Like the lack of control over regulating their emotions, so I suppose a lack of self-control and awareness. An individual who thinks they can exert power over someone else. I would go further on saying individuals who love exerting power over someone else. I can exert some form of power, however small it is, but I never liked it. The difference between a boss and a tyrant. Why do you think that a boss exercises power and not leadership? Would it not be fair to say that exercising any kind of power over others implies, intended or perceived, one's elevation above another individual? Hierarchy implies power. Of course, I like the concept of leadership much more, and I would like to live in a world where hierarchy doesn't exist. But in a pretty much large, complex and structured working place, for instance my working place, it is inevitable that some people will be literally chiefs, supervisors, or whatever the term is that you want to use to refer to the position. If someone tries to hurt you on purpose after you hurt them by accident by saying something wrong. Oof. This hit me right in the feels. Not proud to say I've done this. Even if it wasn't intentional, some things do hurt, and sometimes you just can't get past it. Ache still doesn't justify the feeling of wanting revenge. Wanting revenge and having revenge are different thing. Everything is fine as long you don't act. We all had some bad thoughts and bad days. But I was scared as shit when a not anymore friend explained to me why it was the right thing to hurt me. As a punishment, for hurting his feeling over things I didn't even know they are hurtful to him. When someone is willing to hurt you over a misunderstanding, what else are they willing to when a real problem occurs?